Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Load Dice podcast, show about load dice and opinions. I'm your host, Hal. Joined with me today is the wonderful Diesel.
Oh, I'm wonderful today.
Oh, okay. Don't say hi. Okay.
I was just, I was really flattered because you complimented me,
Okay. Well, never again now. And the spectacular, amazing, best of all of us, Killjoy. Say hi, Killjoy.
Hi, Killjoy.
So I see we're power scaling now.
Yeah, we're power scaling.
We're power scaling.
Well, I'm just saying, Killjoy has never died in an episode, which means he's objectively stronger than you.
No,
okay,
my
but
God,
Goku died in Dragon Ball, and didn't he come back stronger?
No.
Yeah, but like I could also just blow
stop.
you up again.
You're gonna attract power scalers. They're like
ants. No, more viewers? What?
No, they're not good ones. You gotta
guys. Who would win in a fight, Greg Heffley or Captain Underpants? My money's on Greg Heffley.
I don't know.
You don't know who Greg Heffley is?
No, I don't know who Greg Heffley is.
I'm very curious to hear if there's a British equivalent for this, but it's very off topic for today.
Well, okay. Speaking of the topic today, Killjoy has picked it out for us. Killjoy, what's the topic today?
Okay, so we're doing genres and how to kind of use the tools to kind of flavor out that genre. Like, how do you make a comedy-based campaign, or if you're going to do a horror campaign, what do you need to flavor out that campaign to make it work? What are the tools you need to make that happen? And so to start, we can always start with the good tried and true horror. Horror is a very difficult genre to do in tabletop, because it is difficult to get someone in that like mindset that's going to make them scared in a setting that has no like stakes to them. Does that make sense? So, horror is, to boil it down to a substance. It is a genre about like filling you with like a sense of dread. Something that is like, something's coming, you don't know what it is, but it is going to show up eventually, and that fills you with that like jump. That when it finally shows up, you jump, you panic, you are filled with an instant amount of adrenaline, dopamine. It makes your brain go burr. And the idea is, at a table, you need flavor, tools, various things that you need to get that out of people. And to do that, one of the best ways to do that is with a separate genre, mystery. A mystery is always going to help build suspense, and suspense is what makes horror work. Because you're building up to a payoff. That payoff is the jump, the scare, the panic. This usually comes in like a few things. So usually when I run horror, I sprinkle out details in a fashion to kind of get players interested. Because when a player's interested, they're going to do all the work for you. Once you have them hooked, they're going to scare themselves, because they're going to start building all those imagined ideas of what this could be. And you just need to pay that off, which is the hardest part, is to put out something that either matches or exceeds what they've built up in their head. Good example of this is, and it's one of my favorite, we did Delta Green. And the first Delta Green campaign was one of my favorites. I ran the Evil Dead house. And the reason it worked, in my opinion, is because slowly but surely, everyone started realizing what was going on. And the players couldn't say anything, which built the suspense, because the characters were eventually going to be subjected to the Evil Dead house. And the suspense was, who's going to turn on the record player and start the whole thing. And it was so funny when I didn't have to pressure anyone. I just had to put it out there in the open and let the brain gremlins make someone press the button. And Dr. Smolder obliged, and it was great. And the immediate payoff is you have to now survive Evil Dead, and immediately everyone's like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh god, ran upstairs, demon tree, oh shit, oh fuck, go get the shotgun from the shed, oh fuck, oh shit, chainsaw hands, and then you guys escaped. Very, very fun. Everyone got their shit pushed in by the Deadites. It was just a really fun little horror segment. And I've also ran a D&D equivalent of The Thing. Players went out up into mountains, stopped poachers, but they were like, "Oh, there's a little doggy." Once again, because it was a movie, each player, one by one, realized what movie they were in, and again, the suspense is who's the thing now, and because a lot of times players want to take their player knowledge and put it into the character, but in a proper fashion, that built the suspense that wasn't available to build in like the game, and I think that helps, in my opinion, for that kind of horror where you know what's going on, but your character doesn't, and you are helpless to stop what's happening to them until it happens.
When I oh my god, my throat's a little phlegmy, but when I think about horror, right? Or okay, honestly, if you're trying to build one of these components into a game or run a game based on these components of like writing a story type things, I think horror is probably the easiest that translates for a lot of DMs, right? Because there's a lot of mechanical structures around making horror work in a tabletop setting. And generally, like the thing that I've found, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this, it's not that horror games are scary. It's that disconnect between what the player knows and what the character knows creates tension. And so horror games are tension games, where it's this constant like beat against the clock because there's a thing, or sometimes literally a thing, that can kill you, or it changes the dynamic of power, right? Because like a D&D hero is going to be incredibly powerful from a very low level. So if something is very dangerous, the difference between what the player knows and what the character doesn't know creates the tension at the table that makes everybody interested and excited. You're never gonna like, I mean, I'm sure you could jump scare somebody at a table for like a horror game. I know I have, but like generally speaking, that's really not what you're going for, I think, and I don't think that should be the thing you're going for. Um, when I am structuring horror, right, or I am thinking about horror, and I write a lot of horror, that is actually probably like my main thing. I write and read a lot of horror. And again, this is one of those things where you should, unfortunately, probably open up a book.
No, not the reading.
What? You have to read.
But one thing that I've noticed is that horror also, there's a few things, right? It generally helps to be able to describe something in a way that is overly specific but still vague. And I know that seems oxymoronic, but hear me out here. And unfortunately, Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu are going to be the greatest examples of this exact thing. And I feel like I use Delta Green a lot, so I'm going to try and use Call of Cthulhu. In Call of Cthulhu, there was a game I was running where a guy basically makes a pact, his family makes a pact with a genie. And it's the year before the Great Depression, which is important for later. But the gist of it is that an attorney gets some PIs and familial relatives to go up to the house where this genie is to go find out what happened because his client that survived is being pinned for a murder. The twist is that he did commit the murder, but it was because of the genie pact that these bad things happened, right? And here's where the descriptor comes in, right? They don't describe what the genie looks like, really. They say like it's a writhing mass of tentacles and eyes and stuff like that. But your ability to describe the things that are not described about the genie helps make the genie sound scarier than it is, right? Like there's all these added things of the room that you're in. The room is lit poorly. The floor of the room is filled with seashells, and it's pretty sparse on a lot of details. Uh, so you could add other things where it's like, oh, there seems to be these like dark black stains that streak upon the wall, but they're like suspiciously on the floor and on the ceiling, but somehow got behind the bookshelves. The answer to that is I have no fucking clue how it defied the laws of physics and passed through the bookshelves to be on the wall behind it. But that weird little mystery makes people sit up and go, well, what could it be? Well, what is it? And then once the genie shows up, they fill in the blank and go, oh, it was the genie that did that. Even though there was like no physiological way that could have happened. So nobody's gonna. It's not like I'm putting in a plot hole that's gonna end up causing people to ask questions. But like you're adding in these questions and adding in these variables that make people go, okay, something really bad happened here. I gotta pay attention, right? Which is a little different than like watching a horror movie where you're like, I'm really invested in these characters. I hope nothing bad happens. And then, like, you know, about 15 minutes into the movie, you get the first jump scare where it's a guy closing the fridge really loudly.
Yeah, and nothing pays off from that. It just was.
Yeah, it's like one of those gag jump scares.
Yeah. Well, because so what the issue with like movie jump scares is that they are engineered to be they've done studies. I hate this. They've done studies to figure out how often you need to scare someone to relieve the tension to keep them at the theater without upsetting them, because there is a limit. And so they've calculated out this like rise and fall where you get more and more tense, and then finally the payoff happens and you're like actually jump scared for real this time.
You know, I wish I could imagine that the guy who writes the average Blumhouse Halloween PG-13 picture is thinking that deeply about the jump scares in his found footage horror movie.
No, I know. It's the issue is it's not him. It is literally some consultant firm that goes and has plotted this out, and then everyone absorbs that through cultural osmosis. We're really good at pattern seeking, so they see how often it happens in other horror movies, and therefore it leached into like indie horror.
Ooh, that was a really good thing that you just brought up, KJ, the pattern seeking thing.
Yeah.
That's actually good for all of the things that we're gonna touch on today.
Yeah.
I know it's like a oh, this is like a beginner writer tip, but the rule of threes is really, really important for horror, especially because D&D and all these other games are basically always going to be horror mystery, right? Because the mystery aspect makes the player participate. But you need something to happen 3 times, especially if it's not like it's not you literally like really spelling it out on the other side of the table. Otherwise, they're not going to write it down. Right, so it's really helpful to have something happen multiple times, so that way someone goes, "Huh, maybe that's important." So that way they write it down. So you really need a rule of threes that shit.
It's one of those. If they don't get it by the 3rd time, just throw it out.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah. Figure it out. And so like during my campaign, like my 1 to 20, there was a horror element that was taking a back seat throughout the whole campaign that paid off at the end. And my favorite thing was the aha when the mystery was finally revealed in like the 3rd act of this game. And I got to watch every player's light bulbs go off, and everyone had to like stop and be like, wait, is this what you're trying to say? And I was like, yes. And they were like, oh fuck. And that payoff really brought that like finale together, as in like everyone's really invested. It pulled at everyone's strings really well. Everyone had built a information base that led to the solving of this mystery, so everyone contributed equally in parts. And every character really, really, really wanted to solve this problem rather than, oh, this is this character's problem. Even though it was more closely tied to this character's backstory, because I sprinkled information for this mystery throughout the entire campaign, and that information base was spread throughout all the players. All the players became invested in this one character's backstory because of that. And that was, I feel like that's super important, like, if you're going to run a long form horror kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is because like horror over a long horror tends to be a short term payoff, because again, like the jump scare in the theater thing, there has to be a payoff, otherwise you become either so anxious or so desensitized to the payoff that the payoff isn't good. So I think the little information drops, the tiny ahas leading up to the big aha, made the players more invested rather than that jump scary less invested, because again, unfortunately jump scares just suck.
Yeah.
Gonna be honest, not a fan. But yeah, I think timing is huge. It is gonna be the most important tool out of all of these. When you pay something off is important, and that is never going to be something that you can meter out perfectly. You have to know when to pay off, because it's just an intuition thing. Because sometimes there are going to be moments where, like, a joke just lands. They switch into comedy real quick. Comedy's about timing. And there are jokes that are funny because of the timing, and then there are jokes that are even funnier because they missed the timing. And then the final boss of jokes, the joke that goes on way too long, and then I love those jokes, honestly. But
I saw an amazing Norm Macdonald joke recently, and I'm not gonna tell it because it would take too long. But I have to resist every bone in my body not to be like, "Do you guys want to hear a joke right now?"
yes, but that's the point. Is that's the part that's fun about, like, and we'll switch to comedy real quick. The fun part about comedy is, like horror, a involuntary response. People don't laugh because they feel obligated to laugh. It is involuntary. I am ripping that from your very soul. You don't necessarily want to laugh. That's the best part about some jokes, is that no one in the room wants to laugh at that joke. You just made them all do it. And that's usually like puns or wordplay jokes, innuendo. Everyone's rolling their eyes, but they're having fun doing it. There are comedy is very much rule of threes. A joke gets funnier every time someone says it again and adds something else, and then they build and build and build until the joke falls off a cliff. And to borrow from Dropout, my favorite Dropout is them bullying each other over this one their bit where they're naming mobsters based on like a presentation. And first bit, okay. Second bit, terrible. Just missed the mark. There was a joke there that he missed. Chef Boyar Girl was what he said, not Chef Girl RD, and Brennan is just digging into him, building the joke. And then Zach comes in and he's like, Gal Dente, and everyone's fucking rolling. It's over. No one's in character anymore. The joke's over. It's so goddamn funny. And it's just a pure moment of comedy. Because he reached through the ether and found the only joke that could, like, there was no better joke to make. It was the perfect one. And he reached in and grabbed it.
Halloween, you never say anything about horror, and I feel like you should say something about it before we move on to talk about comedy in
So true.
earnest.
I don't really know what else I can touch on, you know? Like, I've run a lot of horror campaigns, but I don't know if I really like do it good, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, you like some of your favorite campaigns: Curse of Strahd,
Yeah.
of
Ran that like
Tharis,
4 times. Yeah. Ran
uh,
that like 4 times.
and Dragonheim. Tharis and Drakenheim
And
are
yeah, I ran that
horrors
like 4
because
Well,
yeah.
well, how are those? What makes those scary then? Miss runs them all the
Well,
time.
with Curse of Strahd, I think it's the aspect of dread. Um, the feeling of helplessness that the players experience as they are tormented by this vampire who's just bored and looking for something to do for the most part. Um, with Drakenheim, it's probably the body horror. There'll be so many times where I describe something, or I'll show them an image, and they're like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And that's sort of what does it. And like the looming threat of that could be you one day, is sort of what does that. Or there's this one time, and this is something I think's kind of important for like more eldritch horror. The ability to describe something that the players can't comprehend because the horror comes from the unknown. And then when it's revealed, it's like, fuck, there goes my brain. Um, what's the other one? Afaris? Uh, Afaris is a horror campaign in the same way uh like Dark Souls is. It's not Dark Souls, Bloodborne is. It's not really like horror, it's just got that gothic sort of like vibe and everything's
It's
hard as
it's
fuck.
it's it's what you would call gothic horror.
Yeah, it's
Well,
kind of gothic horror, but like not,
I
Well,
think the
because it's not
horror of
outright scaring you.
yeah,
yeah.
I think the horror of Tharis is realizing that even the cats can kill you.
No, the cats make you horny.
I know, but that's the joke.
I'm sorry. Was that actually in the book, or was that
That's
something you
Yes,
were
that
just
is
actually in
like?
the
absolutely in
book.
the book.
So the demon,
What?
the archdemon Citri, got her hand on these cats, and they're called Citri cats, and they carry the disease, the 7 shades of Citri, and the 7 it makes you horny. It's a disease that makes you horny. There's
Yeah,
also a zombie virus.
Consequently, that also makes you horny,
No,
which
actually.
is strange. I don't really understand why they keep doing that.
Yeah. Um,
Go on, Hal. Sorry.
no, that was the end of my full
Okay.
Okay.
my
No, you're
thought
good.
process.
You're good. You're good. You're good. So, body horror is a really good example of this. Like, playing into like a character's personal investment into the horror. The horror comes from that I made this character this way, and now the campaign is inevitably altering them. I will say that there is a really good example of a bad example, if that makes sense. There's a really bad example of body horror, and it's in Tomb of Annihilation or Tomb of Horrors. It's one of the tombs that Gary Gygax made, and it just changes the gender of your character, and then like every trap is there to just make your character not what you made them, and that's not the point of the body horror concept. That is just Gary Gygax, in my opinion, being a dick to his players because he hated them. And what real body horror is like is as characters grow in power, that has consequences. Ophelia is a really good example of this in one of my campaigns. Every time she leveled up as a warlock and Hal gained this new power, I wrote a little excerpt explaining where this power came from her parasite, and it was very body horror.
It was.
And it was Kino. Hal ate a brain and got to see the abyss, and I described it as this twisting, infinite void of like teeth melting into oceans, melting into trees and forests. And the idea is that the more you look, the less sense it makes because you're realizing that you're looking into an infinite plane. And I imagined it like looking at a fractal kind of concept.
Yeah.
And these descriptions don't give you a clear idea on what it is because there is no clear idea what it is. And that's kind of the point is the more you describe it, the less sense in a human brain it makes. And these are difficult things to pull off because human brains want to make sense of things. And you have to kind of teach yourself how to step out of that and make something that hurts the brain through like dissonance. Dissonance is a really good tool where something is this objectively, but it is presented like this as well, and your brain has to figure out which is the real thing. And so like a dissonant thing is like trying to come up with an example on the fly, but my brain is failing me. Good example. Fae are very dissonant. They will look sweet and kind and gentle on the outside, and then they walk you into a briar that doesn't end, and you end up flayed alive from the thorns. And they're giggling the whole time like it's a game. That's dissonant. That's Japan has a word for that. That's gap moe. It's where a cute thing has some trait that is upsetting. So like a cute anime girl with a knife. You know the one.
Toga. He's talking about Toga.
Yeah. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the pink hair one, even older, because I'm an old man.
Oh my god.
I never know.
I've seen the PFP on the internet.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so that dissonance builds in a character's head until it becomes like they actually have to like confront it to make it make sense, and that can be a cathartic moment for a player where they like confront a fae and be like, why are you like this? And they're just like, it's in my nature. And then you say something and all of a sudden you're betrothed to a fae and you're like, oh no, nightmare. And these are all like tools that you can use to in like just writing. I will mention a tool that is beneficial to like 5e specifically, and it's really, really apparent in Curse of Strahd. Barovia is a regional effect made manifest. It is one of those things that is left on like legendary monsters that is usually just kind of left on the cutting room floor. It is something they included. They don't really use all that often. Regional effects are a backdrop. It is a way to conceptualize what this monster does to a place just for existing. Barovia is the perfect example of this because it is the way it is because Strahd. Strahd makes Barovia the way Barovia is. In the newest book, the I'm trying to remember. It's Ravenloft. It's something guide to Ravenloft or something.
Van Richten.
Not Van Richter's. It's the newer one.
I don't know. It's
I
5.5
remember
along,
it
maybe.
being advertised on D&D Beyond. I can tell you that.
I know. Welcome to 5e.
I certainly can't remember the title.
5.5e not making an impact.
I think it's like Curse or Shadow of
the Horrors
Ravenloft.
Within. There we go.
Oh my god. Well, Curse or Shadow sounds the same as the Horrors Within.
I love it because it does sound like a directed DVD horror movie.
Yeah, it sounds like Insidious, the New Beginning.
I know. But in that, they go into deeper detail on how the other people in Ravenloft affect their various regions, because every creature in Ravenloft is some kind of like kingpin. Not every creature, but every like they have a word for it.
Actor.
Yeah. but they change the region that they control via their power, and that's a good way to like do the set dressing of horror. Is look at the regional effect or make one and play that out in the world. Regional effects are fun. They're like a layer effect, but for miles.
Mhm.
They tend to not have any mechanical advantage. They are just there for flavor, or they give a creature a forewarning on what's going to happen. So like a boss is never surprised in their region because they just know that you're there because the region told them so. It's like the Eye of Sauron. It just knows that people have entered Mordor, kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are ways to build like horror. Comedy is a little bit different. To pivot back to what we were doing before. Again, sorry, Hal, for pivoting away before you got to say your piece.
No, you're okay.
Comedy's fun. I think comedy belongs in campaigns that include like Fae. And it's in comedy is best paired with a bit of tragedy. And Fae really embody this, is that they juxtapose your morality. They take what you think is fair, normal, and what's the word I'm looking for? Social. Like the how they socialize is very different, and it's based on what we as people do, but they kind of flip bits of it to make it an affront to what we do. So like when you are invited to when you go eat Fey food, you are forever trapped in the Feywild because you've stolen something from the Feywild, so it stole something back. When you are polite to a Fey, they take that as like payment. As in like if you just say thank you to a Fey creature is like, oh, I didn't do anything for you, so obviously you owe me something since you paid me, so gib. And they'll take something from you. I am a huge fan of like one of the characters in a Fae campaign that unfortunately fell apart because, not gonna lie, it's a very difficult setting to run. Feywild is hard to conceptualize and run properly, and everyone needs to be on the same page. You have to be writing it in a certain way. It is not an adventure, if that makes sense. And I think the comedy aspect comes from understanding that, like, if you give someone an IOU, they might literally take the letters IOU from your vocabulary. Like, you will not be able to form words with those letters anymore. And that's funny. That's hilarious. That is just kind of like a teehee.
It was a really fun little thing.
Yeah, and then like you ran your one shot, Hal, and I had a blast with that. I bottled someone's sorrow. I asked them for their sob story, and I bottled
removed
it.
someone's cardinal direction in yours. It was so funny.
You did do that. He couldn't look in the same direction. Because he had hurt this Fae's feelings, you made a deal, and it removed his ability to look at her because
Yeah,
they were going to
in
get
her
married.
direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the consequence of that is that there is a cardinal direction he can't look at all times. It's just he can't look in the same like quarter of the map as her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so funny. What were some of the other things? There was a chick who was aura farming, and then because she was her title was the Maiden of the Eclipse, someone aura farming over her and eclipsing her removed her from existence.
Yeah.
Very fun.
What was fuck? There was another one, and I've lost it. Oh fuck! I hate myself.
No, you're fine. But the idea of the comedy aspect of this is just it is meant to be light, playful, but horrific in that way.
Mhm.
Just the idea that there is a tension that is constantly broken with levity, but if you were to actually look under the hood, this is a horror. This is horrifying and harmful to everyone who lives a normal existence, and that's where a bit of the comedy comes from. Because, like, in reality, if someone actually lost their ability to say "I owe you," that's horrifying. That's a terrible thing to happen to someone. It would be studied in great detail. But in a fake campaign, that's silly. That's silly shit. Diesel, your opinion?
I mean, I feel like we're tossed between comedy and horror right now.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's the thing is like comedy is tragedy with a punchline.
yeah.
It's the
Well,
idea.
I feel like you could definitely do like a straight up comedy campaign, but I almost feel like either you got to be like a actual comedian or improv person, or you got to be like really fucking funny. Because otherwise, it's gonna be like, here's this guy again with his bad jokes for the next 3 hours. Like, I feel like it could very easily turn into that kind of experience.
Well,
Like, imagine if we ran a Rick and Morty campaign. Like,
but that
like that's what I feel like it would be. Or like, oh, let's do the Minecraft DnD campaign.
yeah, okay. And I will say pure comedy doesn't exist. Like the idea that you can just be funny for 3 hours doesn't exist because comedy is build up payoff. The reason Dave Chappelle's sets work so good is one of my favorite ones he does is he starts a joke. That joke does not pay off until the final line of his set, and he has been building up to that the entire set.
Well, I was thinking about like what would make like a good comedy, kind of like what you would kind of drape it all on. And I think like hear me out here. What if there was like a campaign? I don't know what system this would be, but it was like Wet Hot American Summer.
That'd be so funny. You could do Kids on Bikes, Wet Hot in American Summer.
Yeah, I was thinking of the bit where the kids in the lake and the lifeguard's not paying attention. I think it was Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, my friend's drowning. He's like, he's fine. And the kid's like, help, 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 before the kid drowns and is never seen again.
Which is horrifying in reality, but it's funny.
I feel like players could inhabit the like counselor characters in a setting like that, but then also I feel like there still needs to be a twist for everybody to go, oh,
well, and
Jason's here. You know, it's actually Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I keep making the joke. I want to run Curse of Strahd, but instead of like Bram Stoker's, it's Dracula Dead and Loving It. It's a great idea where it's like Strahd's just a fucking caricature of himself and vampires, and it's really just funny because I'm gonna be honest, everyone runs Strahd that way anyway because every D&D campaign is just a Monty Python skit.
You're not wrong.
It is. It is.
You're not wrong.
We're fooling ourselves into thinking otherwise. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is just a D&D campaign.
The Strahd in particular, though, he's like I feel like we use the word Flanderization too much, but he is like the Flanderization of a vampire. Yeah. Like the idea of a vampire, he is the most vampire-y vampire to have ever lived. He has all of their like traits that are rehashed and everything. He's like he's as obsessive as Lestat. He's as like cloistered and you know, in his castle as Dracula. He's as sexy as Alucard. He's literally all of it. He waxes poetic just as much as the what's that Dracula movie? There was like a Coppola Dracula movie. Is that the one I'm thinking of right now?
I'm just throwing it out there. he had a whole crash out because he wasn't hot enough. I don't think you should make Strahd hot. He should be like a
He should be
disgusting old
ugly.
man.
He should
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
No, not like a Nosferatu sort of ugly.
Just
Oh,
like
is it because
Like-
he's hot now too?
No, it's because if like he's an old man in his 50s trying to hit on like a 20-year-old, he should embody that guy who can't take the hint when you go out.
Yeah. The old man who's hitting
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Just like
I'm
He's
seeing
hitting
you
on the
from across the
20-year-old.
bar. I was wondering if you'd like to go back to my coffin with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
That's how he should feel.
He turns into bats and appears next to you. I like your vibe.
I suck blood. What do you suck?
You should be like, oh, it is such a shame. I am such a nice guy. Why will Irene never give me a chance?
Oh God! not
why
nice
do
guys,
these
Strahd.
why do these beautiful women never give me a chance?
Yes. He's like,
I am
much-
such
I have so
I'm
much
such
more
a fat
experience
fucking
than,
Chad.
I have so much
No.
more experience than all these young men. That's catch
I'm
your
such a nice
fancy.
guy. I
could-
have a
I
lot
could
of
give you the
money.
best gift you have ever had. Why won't you fuck me?
Mhm. But yeah, so like the comedy but that's the best part is there's comedy there. There's genuine comedy in that.
So what you're saying
horror.
is we should take the fangs out of Strahd and that would make it funny.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that like that's where the comedy comes from because comedy usually is evoked from a failed expectation. You had this expectation and the you're filled with like a sense of like not disappointment, but like there's a sense that you're an idiot for thinking that it was this way and now it's this way, and you involuntarily laugh at that because
Well,
you're like,
I think
how could
also
think
like
that?"
making it so absurd is also part of
Yes.
what makes it funny in that regard. Because like I don't know, like everybody really loves the Smiling Friends in terms of comedy, and I think a lot of what makes it funny is how absurd a lot of it can get. I'm thinking about like the Frowning Friends where they're like, "We hate everything. We don't want anybody to smile." And then they're like, "We're going to kill a guy because that's going to make people sad." It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well that's so ridiculous that that's funny.
And that's absurdist comedy. Absurdist comedy is like taking the dial and cranking it until it breaks because the joke is inherently from again, you have an expectation. There you understand that there are limits to what people will do. Absurdists see the line drawn and just sprint past it and keep sprinting it. That's the joke. So like one of my favorite Monty Python skits is, and it's absurdist, is it's Mary Queen of Scots. She's the joke is are you Mary Queen of Scots? And the lady goes, I am. And then she falls downstairs for like the next 3 minutes. And that's funny for 10 seconds, and then it gets funny again later because of how absurdly long the bit is. Because they saw the line, they sprinted past it, and they waited for you to find it funny again because you're waiting for the joke to end and it doesn't.
I think for comedy, well, I was just thinking because I ran Cyberpunk yesterday, and one of the like, so Mishi has a character Joker Baby, who's a bozo, who's a clown. But they disguised all their characters to be like corpos to enter Arasaka Tower. And Joker Baby at one point is like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And Joker Baby goes to the bathroom. And I'm like switching between all the characters so they each get like a moment. And as I switch to Joker Baby, I thought Joker Baby was like shitting or something. And then Mishi was like, no. Joker Baby's trying to fit through the vents. And then she goes, but she can't fit through the vents because her ass is too fat and her shoes are too big. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. And so actually this person comes in and they see these shoes sticking out. And so like the entire back and forth that I have with Mishi now is like this constant like escalation of the shoes are there. Okay, we pulled them out of the vent. Okay, who are you? I'm James Bedazzle, which is obviously a fake name. And then it's like a constant back and forth and like escalation. So like D&D is such like an improv heavy thing. Like this, like comedy is a really easy yes and it's like just yes and the comedy, all right? Don't be such a serious funny duddy that you won't yes and the
Yeah,
comedy.
well, and
Because it was funny. It was a great moment.
that is such a good bit. And it's just
It was
it's so easy to
very
build
funny.
on, man. Hal, do you have any opinions on comedy, Feywild, so the stuff we brought up?
Well, I mean, I love the Fae, obviously. I'm doing a Fae game myself right now because someone won't let me experience the joy of playing in the Feywild.
I tried.
Um,
I really did.
No, it's okay. You hate me specifically. I understand.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I think also it's important to fuck, I'm not funny. I'm a woman, please.
You literally say you're the world's first funny woman. I don't.
No, you say I'm the world's first funny
Yeah,
woman.
so why aren't
I
you
just say
representing right
that's
now?
impossible and make people laugh.
You both are
Uh
awful right now.
No, I use in my games because I don't really run funny games. I run horror games. Even in my Fae game, it's got that underlying tone of, well, there's an impending zombie apocalypse. You use the comedy to enlighten like those moments, I think. Or at least that's how I do it. And it sort of
Comedy's like a good
helps.
zest, you'd say.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like a you know when you have like really intense show and then like or like in Resident Evil, for example, Leon hitting those one-liners breaks the tension just enough. So it's like good. You're not sat there feeling kind of like shitty the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's a really important aspect that you've got to sort of like juggle.
Have you guys experienced things that are like pure comedy, like interactive mediums? Because I'm like really racking my brain. It's like, how is that experience in my head? And it's like a comedy movie is like really, it's like an enjoyable experience. I probably don't want like a 3 hour or 2.5 hour comedy movie, but like a 90-minute one is like pretty good. And then like beyond that, I'm like, all right, I feel like the joke's run its course. But then I think about like a game like High on Life, which I played like 10 hours of. Um, I don't know why. I did not find it funny. I actually found it incredibly irritating. Because for the every moment it was like joke, 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 joke. And then it was like every 5 jokes would land, and I'd just be sitting there going, well, this is stupid. And then just going on by like shooting it. That's what I feel like a comedy campaign can end up like if you do it like
Yeah,
that. You
for
know?
Yeah.
sure.
I think
I don't think comedy should be a campaign
Oh,
itself.
that's why Borderlands annoys the shit out of me because it's always like that. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I think, and this is the importance, is like a comedy campaign is going to be Monty Python. Monty Python has serious moments that are broken up by jokes.
Mhm.
The idea is that they are on a serious quest and they are flanderizing the idea of a crusade and a knight it is just to borrow that word because we love that word but the joke is that this is King Arthur, but all the bit is just if King Arthur sucked at being a knight and Camelot was a silly place and it's a sword and sandals but jokey. I think the purest form of comedy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, friend slop games. And the reason I say that is because the jokes are always improvised, and they when they land, everyone's cry laughing.
Yeah.
Because nothing's funnier than you try and hide. And I'll be playing Repo, and my son will come up and be like, he'll make a noise, and I will get fucking blown the fuck away by that the guy with the shotgun, and it is so funny. I'm in tears every time it happens. And my son just doesn't know what's happened, and I'm laughing, and I get up and I leave, or trolling you and Kat by jumping out of the cart, and you have to fucking manage me while trying to kill all the monsters.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But it's funny, and I think
It
that you
is.
should bring that energy to D&D or a tabletop, where it's like, not everything's a joke. You are literally in a dangerous horror scenario where you could die at any second. But when there's a moment to make everyone crack a smile, maybe take it. Maybe take it. Because here's the thing. You are not doing a Exorcist or like any of those like really
Yeah.
serious horror movies where there needs to be
You're playing a silly game with your silly friends.
and like if you need to break the tension with a joke and get everyone reset to like back to basics so they can think again, that's perfectly fine. I love that. And I think that's the ultimate tool in the toolbox, is knowing that there is always a way to reset everyone's mood, and comedy's a really good way to do that. There is inappropriate ways to do that, I will be clear. There are moments where you should not be joking, especially if someone's like monologuing, unless it's really, really funny and it's not going to piss anyone off. Again, these are room reading moments, and you need to use best judgment. I'm not going to be held responsible for people who can't do that. If you can't do that, it is a skill issue. Reading a room is difficult. It takes practice. Don't give up. You'll get good at it someday. I struggle with social cues. I tend to be pretty good at reading a room. Yeah. I guess that's kind of like the final. Not even the final thought. There's probably more I could go on about, but like this is a very broad topic that we've waded into, and we've only hit on 2 genre. But
Yeah,
like
we've still got
I feel like they're the most common.
Yeah.
for sure.
But like to kind of, I guess, take it back to the Fae game. Fae games can play into the like political or the more Game of Thronesian thing where you're like trying to do court. If you want to see like a Fae game done right, Court of Thorn and Roses by, is it Court of Thorn and Roses? I might not be.
Isn't that that romantasy book?
And that might be the romantasy book.
It is a romantasy book, yes.
Dimension 20 did a joke about the Court of Thorn and Roses, and it's very funny. Brendan Lee Mulligan plays a hobgoblin who is the best hobgoblin. He has decided that he is so goblin that he will break the rules of being a goblin, because goblins break rules.
This is true.
So he's kind of like this posh knightly character, and he's constantly trying to fit in with the other goblins. And he just like, there's one time he just hucks a halberd at a guy and kills him because he's like mischief, mayhem, and there's one more M. I can't remember. It's been a very long time. It's just he nails the character, and it's because they're doing this very serious like political campaign. I say very serious. It is a political like esque campaign where they're trying to navigate Fae Court, but everyone is a comedian, so the bits are endless. Everyone kind of waits for their moment and then pulls the comedy trigger to, again, reset everyone from becoming too serious or self-serious. And that is kind of but like I guess my argument is like, don't do a mono genre, because mono genre doesn't exist. horror movies have jokes. Evil Dead is one of the most beloved horror movies because it is full of them. The horror is the joke, the cruel joke of that even the bad guys are funny and make you laugh. And like there's subgenres, like Black Mirror is a subgenre that you could do in like a cyberpunk game. You could absolutely run a Black Mirror-esque cyberpunk thing, because Black Mirror is the like the falling into the hopelessness of a like cyberpunky dystopia reality where like you are dragged into the abyss of that. Like, so to make it make sense in like a cyberpunk red sense, it would be like a new product hits the shelves, and it is presented as fixing everyone, but it turns them into basically the corporate drone that Arasaka wants, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the Black Mirror of it all is realizing that no matter what the heroes do to fix the problem, the people are willingly consuming the product, maybe even knowing the consequences of that, consuming that product. And that's the real horror of Black Mirror, is that there is a co-signing of the horror where it's like you are self-subjecting yourself to this. This is a bit of like an endless topic, I'm realizing. So that's
horror really is just
well, no, not even horror, just like genre in general.
yeah.
I do think we've come to a conclusion that horror works really well in comedy. Maybe not so much, unless you're like everybody's at your table is really funny.
Yeah.
I will argue with you. You can do a comedy campaign. You just can't do only comedy. The realization is that you need to be a most multifaceted individual at your table, even if the campaign has a genre.
Mm-hmm.
That is my conclusion. You might have a different opinion. I'm passing the talking stick.
Do you?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, romance is going to be its own episode, apparently. So
that one you're gonna do a lot of talking on Halloween.
Me?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I don't even do romance at my table.
I mean,
You can't do romance
you gotta.
if you tragically murder your character.
No, this is exactly why why you gotta do that one.
We can do that next time.
Yes. What other genres are there then? There are more than just horror and comedy.
Well,
Suspense and mystery, that was it.
I feel like we touched on mystery.
The Tool episode. Toolbox, guys. Toolbox.
Well, yeah, we gave tools. How to properly run it. It's the idea is that, like, again, I guess I'm again repeating myself because I've reached my final thought conclusion. These elements play into each genre. Genre is a kind of like a backdrop, but everything is included in that backdrop. You have a vast variety of tools. Do not make a mono genre campaign. It doesn't work. You need comedy in your horror. You need suspense in your comedy, because a joke has to hang for the punchline to have teeth. A romantasy works because the will they won't they. You know, like all of these things play into each other. Suspense seems to be the through line through it all, is that you need to have suspense and timing to pull off story beats, because story beats need to sit and ruminate and then be pulled off.
Yes. I don't know, Diesel, you're a film student. What other genres are there that we can incorporate in D&D?
Listen, man, I don't think anybody wants to do like a pensive interpersonal drama campaign.
What about Western?
What about Western? I feel
Western.
like this is why
steampunk Western.
No. This is why this topic could go on for a long time, because it's so broad. But you know, if just to quickly like brush over this, I forget where I read this. I am cribbing the notes of somebody from like Reddit or Twitter or something. But it was that when D&D is in cities, it's Renaissance fantasy. But when you go into the wilderness outside of the cities in D&D, then it's Wild West fantasy. Right? Because everybody wears a lot of Renaissance-y clothes, and there's a lot of painting and all this like high society type stuff that you would associate with like the popular depiction of the Renaissance. And then you leave the city, and there's horseback riding vagabonds that rob carriages, and ne'er-do-wells who live in caves that raid outlier villages. And that exact same thing could just like that is literally the fantasy of the Wild West, right? There's a few more specific like tropes associated with the Western that like change the vibe per se, but like the broad strokes are pretty much the same for that experience with D&D. And I don't think people have realized that, but now that you've seen it and now that I've mentioned it, you're going to walk through your life going, holy shit, this is just like this.
So
and you're never going to be able to leave.
I can explain the origin of that feeling in another episode.
That's
Next
crazy.
time.
Yeah, I get. We'll call. Yeah, we'll call that episode "Cowboys." They're just Rangers, but
Okay.
Yeah, we
guns.
could use that to talk about the book since it's almost
Yeah.
like feature complete now. So
Let's
Oh
go.
my god.
it's just the religion that needs to be done.
Hell yeah! All right.
Oh,
I guess it's time to do. Where can we
yeah.
be found?
so
Yeah.
where can you be found, Killjoy?
Yippee! Yeah, I can be found on Adventures in Omdelier, which is a YouTube channel, and a Twitter, but I don't use that very much. It's a hellscape.
It is. Year of Joy, Year of Joy.
Also, I do help with the Cantrip Collective on Mana Potion Tabletop Patreon. And the module I'm currently working on, which is a little bit delayed because of illnesses and other crunchy time reasons. It's going to be a lovely little romp as familiars in a wizard tower, and you're helping a forgetful wizard not blow up his tower. It's very fun.
Awesome. You love to hear it. You should check that out. Diesel, where can you be found?
You can find me over at Mana Potion Tabletop on the Mana Potion Tabletop YouTube channel, where I produce tabletop content on different topics like every other week, give or take, plus shorts like every single 3 days, which is insane. Oh, also, it's kind of late. We filmed it back in February, so I don't really know what took so long. But there's some local fellas. They're called Dungeons in the Attic. I've had them come in and do like a live play at my store, but I was a guest on their Dungeons in the Attic podcast where we actually discussed a lot of like design stuff and like D&D and other tabletop stuff. So you could check that out if you're really interested to hear more about like what I've been writing. It's been a while, so like all of my information that I gave was out of date. But I'm there as well. And of course, make sure to check out the Mana Potion Tabletop Patreon. What about you, Halloween?
I lay deep below the earth. I am in a deep slumber, and I am awakening. And once I do so, it will be the end of all reality.
Kinda-
Tune
it's
in
kinda
next
crazy.
time. Thank you very much.